Okay, good afternoon everyone. My name is Shania and I'll be running for VP Finance today. As mentioned in my manifesto, which is not out here, I do have experience handling large sums of money and I have experience being in leadership positions. My experience through being the treasurer of my college's Rotaract Club was basically that it helped me practice prudency in terms of accounting, and obviously the whole large sum of money thing really helped. I do actively participate in Dumas events, even though they make me go out of my comfort zone. For example, how like dancing is a very big no-no, but I had to do that. I have made conscious efforts to promote the Malaysian culture, for example, by bringing a few of my friends of international backgrounds to our Chinese New Year event, and co-hosting the first Malaysian Night at Stevenson College together with Yisin and Matt. Based on my conversations with the previous treasurers, one thing that I have noticed is that Dumas has an extremely competent grant at the moment, so it wouldn't require a lot of amendments. However, we do have a problem to tackle, which is how are you going to supervise and approve expenditure during events? Because obviously we have members who want to buy stuff and get reimbursements. So as mentioned in my manifesto, the way that I plan to tackle that problem was basically through using Google Documents. Now what's going to happen exactly is each department will be assigned a single Google document where only members of that department will be able to access that document. And what happens is the members put down what they intend to purchase and the price of it, and once reviewed by either the head of the department or myself if elected, we'll merely just highlight it green, which means go ahead with the purchase. And that way, basically what happens is we can track and monitor expenses, and the whole department will know exactly how much they're spending, keeping you within the budget range. And of course, the receipts for your purchases should be uploaded to the Google Docs, so you won't have a problem of losing a receipt and not being reimbursed. So, besides that, I did mention sponsorships as well via Malaysian companies. And the reason why I say Malaysian companies is basically because, as mentioned earlier, sponsorships require something in return. And the only thing our society can really give is publicity. So employers are interested in graduates, and Durham graduates for Malaysians are really ideal, especially for Malaysian companies, which is mostly why that makes us the perfect candidate, but only for Malaysian companies to get sponsors, as it's a very difficult task. In the long run, this could, of course, at the same time increase Malaysia's awareness on Dumas, on Durham University altogether, and hopefully, in a super long run, help us with the membership as well. So that's mostly, I hope I cover all the points, and thank you for your kind attention.
Hello, for the third attempt. So as you all know, so I'm still I want to run a VP Finance. So it's quite short for Shania just now because the Google Docs really impressed me a lot. But then I still stick into a traditional bookkeeping because I see as an accountant, as a future accountant, I see like technologically it's quite really inefficient because if you can't reach the technological itself, meaning traditional based accounting system is quite good and still used by the whole term like until now. But then see my future belief in Dumas, I see like for example like what Channing said, we got 800 plus for our grant, and I will make sure for the next upcoming grant a higher amount will be given to us by making a better grant, making a precise and better grant. And second, I would to ensure more revenue is gained, although we are not a non-profit organization, right? But then it can't stop us to have more revenue in terms of like, for example, in Global Village or other society that we can somehow gain the revenue for our well-being in next event or to help at a good event. And third, have great communication skill and network to enhance efficiency in financial activities. Because I heard from Channing that we have a bit of problem in terms of among members where other members give the accounting report quite late as the usual. So we make sure this to come into a really precise, a more manageable efficiency in terms of financial aspect. And the last is more precise in handling financial budget and bookkeeping with great knowledge, because I've been a lot in treasury before this, because I was the High Committee Treasurer for Aceh International Community Services. That helped me a lot in handling money and finding any sponsorship for the international community services. So with that experience, I think I can somehow manage the Dumas Treasury or VP as a VP Finance. Thank you.
So we will start with the judges' questions. So we start with the previous treasurer. Any question?
If a society from Durham or other university, like the Newcastle Malaysian Society, asks you to collaborate for an event, knowing that you will make a lot, but it would help in increasing reputation in UKEC or in other university or even in Malaysia, what are you going to do with it?
I think first of all we have to remember that the whole point of Dumas is to benefit our members. So if a Newcastle University wants us to help them out with an event and we know very well that we're making a loss, I don't think it's worth it because it doesn't, in the long run, it won't pay off for our own society. I'm sure we can come up with other ways to collaborate, but if for sure you know that you're going to make a loss, I don't think it's a wise decision because at the end of the day, yes, reputation is important for Dumas, but at the scale that we are at now, the size of our society, we should be focusing more on the members that we have and grow that instead of like launching into large-scale events for one.
So as for me, I have like a bit the same agreement with Shania because I can't see any good in terms of having collaboration with other universities because the members itself signing for Dumas is to give benefit to them to like somehow success the Dumas itself, but I can see Dumas to success in terms of like having collaboration in 5 to 10 years because the aims of Dumas is to give the members the benefit of to feel the home, like to feel like belongs to Malaysia somehow like that. But then to have like collaborate is far from reaching the aim of Dumas itself.
I actually don't have much questions, but I really appreciate that you actually think out a way to solve the issue that I mentioned to you. And I appreciate that both of you find me before like what problem I faced during my period serving Dumas. And I think both of you are experienced, so I'm really hard decision between both of you. I don't know how. So.
One more question. For Irshad, you talk about better grant. How are you going to do it? Because it's already full grant.
Because like I've like contacted Channing, the full grant is £100,000, but then we only get 800 plus because Channing like didn't put the welcome party. So I will make sure any event or any very precise grant to make sure that we get a 1,000 the max grant.
I don't have much questions. Anyone there? Can I start with that?
Yeah, because I'm also a treasurer in another society. So, do you know that Wine Ning did not put in? I'm not sure if she didn't put in or she put in, but because the date is.
No, because like the grant application is 3 weeks after school opens, so it's like welcome event is second week. I don't know, like
yeah, and then
a month after, so it's like
the result will come out
welcome
only a
party
month
is before the application, so they don't support that event.
Yeah. So
really
what do
happen.
you see that you can improve
So
in
we
this
need
sense too?
because that's why in my poster I have like need to have a good communication with other departments. So if like I got elected, I need to make sure with other exec itself to make sure the event is planned really well, to make sure the budget going smoothly before the event itself run.
I'll just follow up the thing.
Okay.
Okay, the main thing is how flexible you can see yourself in adjusting the budget like how Ning does.
Because I myself is an accounting and finance student, so I don't find any problem with that.
Mauda, this will be the last question from Mauda.
Sorry, I know that I mentioned I'm not going to ask question, but then I know Shana's speech is she's implementing something new, so I feel like I hope that you can address this issue. You said that you want to use Google Docs to show like the exact financial statements. So for Google Docs, it's actually a bit different from like uploading the documents on Google Drive. Google Docs people can make live edit, but for Google Drive, you are the one uploading it, so you can have an option of letting people edit or not edit. So if you would say you want to implement the Google Docs, are you going to let the rest of the exec have the authority to change the budget as and when they want, even though you can track? And secondly, you mentioned that you can use that as a platform for the exec to upload the receipts. However, as the VP Finance, you should be the one that let people have, like you have to say, people will have to go through, can I claim this expense before allowing them to know that, okay, they can upload, and you should be the one that I will give the receipt. So are you still gonna like go with this? And also a question for Ursha. You say you want to maintain a traditional bookkeeping. So are you still gonna, what do you mean by traditional bookkeeping? Do you want to do it on like a hard copy on a book, or do you want to upload it online?
Yeah. Thank you.
Right, that's actually a really good question. The whole point of the Google Documents, the expenditure that will be on it will be only for events. It won't be the whole club's financial statements. It's only meant for like that, let's say that's a Diwali event, and the decoration department for the Diwali event. So that way, like the members of that department will have to work within the budget that has already been specified. Because as of now, like a whole department would know that our department has, for example, a £10 budget for decoration. So in this sense, we won't be disclosing any of the club information per se. And for the receipts thing, the reason why I say that they can upload it is because, first of all, as I mentioned, we have to highlight to approve the purchase of the thing. So it's not like they buy it without telling me and give me a receipt for reimbursement. But however, it's more of like I've already approved the expenditure and I know that they're going to buy it, so I just need a receipt in return. So in that case, it won't be a big problem. And the thing with the Google Docs is that you can actually monitor the changes that have been made to the document. So for example, like most probably, what will happen is the head of department will have like more authority of their own department than I am, and I'm mostly supervised if I was elected. But what will happen is basically, any changes that has been made to any form of budgeting or expenditure will immediately be noticed, and we can actually see like who made the change based on the setting that is put on the Google Doc. Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that you will highlight, so that will be the approval. However, the issue with this is that will reduce the communication, the real-life communication with you and the team members. So if let's say you highlight it, but then it may not necessarily mean that the other member who wants to go through the approval from you will check it immediately.
Oh, fair point. But you see, the problem is with what's happening now is like, for example, we use like Stocktoners chat and stuff like that. The biggest problem that I have with the chats that we use is that whenever something else comes up in the chat, like for example, for Stocktoners chat, we have like games, for example. You guys like bury the information in a whole bunch of notifications, and honestly, like when I open it, sometimes it's 100+ notifications. No one can really scroll up to see it. Whereas with the Google document, it's pretty straightforward and easy, and honestly, there's not much room for miscommunication, which I think is the biggest perk of the idea that I have.
So like as for me, like in terms of the traditional, is like still like making a T account, but then not on notes, means like computer, because this is 21st century. But then in terms of like doing, means like I want just like a normal NPO organization where you like give receipt and then I make a T account in the computer and then put it in a budget and all that. And lastly, I want to point out, for every item of the society at my post, I will like print all the soft P and the financial position and the financial income statement to all of the members through email.
Okay, so so that's the end of the question. It's very important.
No, just a
That's
quick
very
question.
running out of time.
Like, it's a small question.
Yeah.
Like, how good are you in managing your money in your personal lives?
I'd rather not disclose my personal
Yeah, this is
finances,
my
but
personal
I'm
expenses.
definitely not in debt if that's what you're worried about.
Okay, so the judges have decided that the vote is going to be 3 on Shania. So can I have the VP next? We'll start with Lydia.